Welcome to Offensive, where we're not afraid to take a beanball in the bottom of the ninth. Brewers game just ended. They could have taken a walk to tie it. We're watching the Brewers, the Bears at the same time. It was a crazy Monday night. There's been lots of fun games this week, but we're going to get right to the games of the week
And let's
and
bring
talk
it up.
about all our favorite games.
All right,
Dave, take us away.
We
Let's
will
bring 'em
talk
up.
about my favorite quarterback in the NFL, not named Kyler Murray. A certain Justin Fields managed to go out to jolly old Europe, play against the Denver Broncos, and he took 9 sacks against the Broncos, which on one hand, you can say the Broncos defense must have had a great day, right? They're dynamic. They get some pass rushers and whatnot. But the hell of it is, when you looked at the stats, the average time that it took him to get a sack was 5.6 seconds. So you have over 5 seconds, you should be getting that ball out. So unfortunately, this game was a whole lot of a very inept quarterback. He doesn't know how to make plays. And if I'm the head coach, Neckbeard, do you think that the head coach can plan on having a job for the rest of the season if he continues to trot Justin Fields out there? Or do you think if he wants to save his job, he should put in somebody who can actually run an NFL offense a little bit?
I don't know if it matters. The Jets are the Jets, man. Like their defense showed up, but that's almost because the Broncos offense just is so bad. And I feel like Justin Fields is awful. Is Tyrod Taylor really going to make a difference? I think the Jets need to lose as many games as possible and get a new quarterback next year.
And new coach.
And probably a new coach. Yeah.
No, but that's where
I want them to keep Aaron Glenn anyway. So.
Oh, yeah, but if you're Aaron Glenn, don't you have to look at the writing on the wall and be like, holy crap, this guy can't even get us positive passing yards for a game?
Yeah, dude, 5.5 seconds per pass is pretty bad. That means he's not seeing open guys. And, the Broncos defense is good, let's be honest. But, he's got to make adjustments or use his legs more often because that's what Justin Fields does. Like, I feel like Aaron Glenn also isn't using him well, isn't calling run plays for him. And the Jets are just a mess. The Jets are not, dude, being a Jets fan has got to be absolute misery.
I said many times that this is the worst Jets team ever.
It might be. It might be. In 10 years from now, though, they'll be close to good. And when we trade him Jordan Love, they'll think they'll make the playoffs again. So, yeah, in 10 years from now. All right, what about the next game? Seattle. I've been calling it. Seattle, baby. That defense. Sam Darnold's looking real nice. JSN looks like a legit number one receiver. He keeps feeding JSN. The running game's decent. Jags just beat the Chiefs, and now Seattle kind of handled them pretty well in this game. So Seattle looked really good. That Seattle defense had a bit of a hiccup against the Bucs, but the Bucs kind of do that to everybody, don't they? They sure score a lot of points on everybody. Not to skip ahead, but good job, Seattle. And then
there's a crazy stat for that game where Seattle, they got pressure on 50% of the snaps, but they only blitz 15% of the time.
Wow!
So they were able to get the pressure on Trevor Lawrence without really having to blitz, because the guys, that defensive line, Leonard Williams led the way. He had 8 pressures. Byron Murphy, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Uchenna Nwosu each contributed 3 sacks. And that's being able to rely on your defensive line. So Seattle, we are talking about, which of these teams might be able to get to the next tier. This would be an interesting matchup. And, even though they both have 4-2 records, I'm not going to write out the Jags. They still, look decent, but they struggle with the offensive line. Before the season, we knew their offensive line wasn't good. They've been doing pretty good with it, but next year, if they can draft some linemen, they should be dangerous. But yeah, Seahawks, I think they took a step up.
I agree. I think they're a pretty legitimate playoff contender.
Well, Sam Darnold made a statement that he's like a legit quarterback, and it's just funny because if you imagine how like terrible overall the NFC is in NFL, like there's no top team. Every team's got problems. If the Vikings held on to Sam Darnold, they could probably be like one of the top teams, but he's doing it with Seattle, and I think Seattle's even better roster than the Vikings are. So it's just an LOL.
Well, let's just stick to this game. If you could start your franchise and draft a quarterback, who would you take? Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence, #1 overall draft pick?
Sam Darnold.
Right now? Oof. Wait, so do you get Sam Darnold's whole career and Trevor Lawrence's whole career to start, or just like today you start
This
a
is
franchise?
you're taking these guys starting a franchise with them moving forward
right
now.
now.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Yeah, Sam Darnold.
So
yeah, and I think it's close. I still think Trevor Lawrence is good, but I think Sam Darnold is better. Like I do. I think he's better. So
crazy to think that 2 years ago.
Right? I know, number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. All right, let's go to Mikey Flavors and the Dolphins finding a way to lose again against the Chargers. But
This was a heartbreaker, man.
Yeah, they had this game, dude. They really had this game. They should have won this game. But this is just the Dolphins this year. Like they're just not a good football team. They're just not a good football team. But they're going to be in a lot of games. I feel like they just don't have a lot of talent top to bottom. They have holes everywhere. And, God forbid Achane gets hurt again. I don't know what they're going to do on offense, but Tua at least looked decent in this game. Tua looked a little better. But yeah, the Dolphins are toast, man.
After the game, he pretty much threw everyone under the bus. Did you hear his comments?
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
When he's talking about player-only meetings and you don't know which are mandatory meetings or whatnot, there's no direction. It's just like, come on, man. You haven't really looked that great a lot of the time. Don't throw your coach and everyone else under the bus. You want to say that. You say that in the locker room. You don't say that in front of microphones.
I agree 100%. And I mean, that does show a problem. He should be holding his teammates accountable as the quarterback, but not in front of the microphones, right? So yeah, that's a problem.
It's one thing if you're a stand-up guy and you're playing well and you're like, hey, everyone's screwing up and like I finally need to say something about it, but you just look like another idiot on the team, kind of,
Yeah, that's not the right way to go about it.
Yeah, he's had the fourth quarter chokes where they're in the game and then he throws that mind-numbing interception where it's blatant too many times this season. So
yeah, he's been part of the problem for sure.
Justin Herbert, he made a hell of a play on that last where he should have been sacked. That was a great play by him. He got it off to the wide receiver. And I love the block that you had from the running back, springing him for the last 15 yards just to make it easier for Dicker the kicker. Like there was 3 great things that happened on that final play for the Chargers. So it was just hats off to the Chargers for that. We called it. We said this was going to be a lot closer than it should have been.
Right.
And, we were so close to being right. That would have been awesome to have.
We thought the Dolphins could upset them.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily call it upset, but we were like, hey, this is on the table. This will not be a blowout, right? Like then, and to be fair, the Dolphins probably should have won this game, but they're the Dolphins. So, dude, okay, so let's go to the next one that we thought for sure would be a blowout. But the Cardinals, without Kyler Murray, look pretty fabulous. Dave, you must be pretty happy about that since he's been a Kyler Murray hater from day one.
Not from day one, only since his junior year.
Oh, since they took Marvin Harrison, who hasn't worked out for you?
Oh, no, it was before they had Marvin. It was just you hadn't seen any development from his third year in the league. He just kind of relies on his physical talents and whatnot. He doesn't really do the processing and whatnot. And the Sharps in Vegas, they told the tale as soon as it was announced that he was going to be out, that they're going to go to their backup quarterback. The line in Vegas did not move.
That tells you a lot.
I think that speaks volume. Lamar Jackson, he goes out. The line moves 8 points. Most starting quarterbacks, if you're even like a
3 or 4
mid-tier quarterback, 3 or 4 points to go down your backup. Kyler Murray goes out. The line doesn't budge. So they're saying, okay, the backup can do just as well. So you're paying him a good chunk of change. So, and it was great. It was awful to hear that Marvin got knocked out because of the concussion. But it was still great to see, hey, this quarterback is able to go to Wilson for clutch plays down in the fourth quarter. He was able to go to some of their other options. And they are a competitive team if they have a competent quarterback.
I agree. They put up a good fight, but Jonathan Taylor, man, that guy, he's just on one right now. Like he is hard to stop. He had like a bunch of great plays. Colts offense keeps moving well. Daniel Jones is making good throws down the field. I'm still in shock at how Daniel Jones plays quarterback for real now. You know what I mean? But he's doing it. So good job, Colts, pulling it out. That's what good teams do. Even when you're in a tight game, they find a way to win. Dude, Colts to me right now, if I'm in the AFC outside of Kansas City, if I'm being 100% honest, I think the Colts would be the last team I would want to play in the playoffs. I'd almost rather play the Bills in the playoffs right now just because of their, historical choking and the fact that they can't stop the run, which was evidenced tonight because Atlanta walked all over them, right? So I think the Chiefs are the obvious, most dangerous team still because, playoff Chiefs are different. But after that, I think this Colts team is really scary, and I would not want to play them in the playoffs. They just find ways to win, and that's what good teams do. So good job, Colts. Rams also find a way to win, playing pretty ugly. I mean, dude, congratulations to Baltimore's defense allowing less than 20 points. So good job, Baltimore's defense. But your offense didn't show up, so that was something. So 17-3. Not a lot to say here. Stafford did not look good in this game, but the Ravens had nothing to show all day. And it didn't matter. And, Rams end up pulling it out. But let's just skip that game because that's kind of boring. This was the best game on Sunday, was the 27-30 Carolina Cowboys game. This game was super fun to watch. Rico Dowdle looked like he's going to take Chuba Hubbard's job. I hope he does because I got Dowdle and he's got Chubbard. No. So, yeah, Chuba can't play anymore. He's not allowed. Rico Dowdle, dude, 200-plus yards and a touchdown. This is his former team, so he was running angry. But that's 2 weeks in a row. He's been RB1 in fantasy and been unbelievable. And the Panthers' offense looks capable. And to be clear, holding Dallas under 30 points is pretty good this year, right? Because they've been scoring 30 on everybody. So good job, Panthers. What's that?
And I think the Bears are the only other team that have really done it this year.
I think so. That's correct. And that's because I think Dak had 2 turnovers in that game or something.
And you touched on it. Part of the credit does go to the offensive line. Dowdle averaged 3 yards before contact. That's Emmitt Smith style blocking from an offensive line. So that's pretty outstanding. And yeah, we thought Carolina was going to be a bit of a dark horse in the offseason just because they got pieces. Their quarterback hadn't looked that good. But if you can start to lean on that offensive line, Chuba's contract is nice, but I think they could have a solid 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah, I think you can't let Rico Dowdle just be a complete backup at this point. Not after those 2 weeks. He looked better than Chuba. And
Chicago,
maybe it's
call him.
Yeah, maybe it's because he was healthier, right? But who knows? But Carolina's offense looks good. They're still going to be up and down this year. Carolina's still going to have games you're going to be like, gosh, that was gross. But then they're going to play with teams that maybe you didn't think. And I still think Carolina has a legit shot at the playoffs, especially in this NFC, which is just a cluster of everything. It's just such a mess. So, yeah, good job, Carolina. On to the Browns, Steelers. Shedeur Sanders, should he start? Because Dylan Gabriel did not look good in that game at all. And the Browns made a bunch of mistakes. The Steelers looked okay. The Steelers keep winning games, which is what the Steelers do, but they haven't really looked great in any of these games. And, they end up winning 23-9. Rodgers is still playing pretty decent, right? Their running game's a little bit better, and their defense showed up, which, everyone's does against the Browns. So that's nothing special. But what do you guys think? Do you think Shedeur Sanders should get a start next week just to see what it looks like after we saw 2 weeks of Dylan Gabriel?
He'll get sacked 85 times, but yeah, Dylan Gabriel's just too short to see over his offensive line. Every time you see the replay and you see it from behind the line, the linemen are just so tall. I'm like, he can't even see the receivers. And he's making some weird plays. He has to roll out every play in order to even see where he's throwing the ball. So I guess you might as well just put Shedeur in because he's tall enough.
If you guys don't watch the channel often, hype requires all quarterbacks be 6'5". He thinks they can't play unless they're 6'5". It's the John Elway theory, which worked out great.
I have Daniels on my fantasy team. I want him to do well, but I'm watching him play going I can't even watch this.
Yeah.
This is just pure disaster.
It was pretty gross. And dude, let's give a shout out to the Saints for making it a game. We called that too. We said, hey, the Saints are going to make this a game. They got a chance. They had turnovers at the end, but let's also give Vrabel credit because I think we said Vrabel's going to make the Patriots a playoff team. It might take a year, right? That's what we said. I think a lot of people said that. Vrabel's definitely going to do a good job. I feel like he's already there. And I feel like with the Ravens and the Bengals falling off completely, that playoff spot is there for the Patriots. And I think they're making it this year because they didn't look good in this game. And the Saints, to Kellen Moore's credit, have played a lot better, I think, than their talent level. And they've got enough veterans on there. But the Saints have played decently, but the Patriots keep finding ways to win. And I think that's Vrabel. Dude, even the silly challenge that he made, where people are like, why'd you make that challenge, when his guy was tackled inbounds and it basically took another 15 seconds off the clock at the end of the game.
Actually.
That's what I'm saying. That is a savvy coach move. That's what you don't have to, reviewing that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal. That was a really smart move. So Vrabel's a good coach. He's going to win a lot of games with the Patriots, and Drake May already looks pretty decent. Remember at the beginning of the year, we were like, is Drake May one of the better quarterbacks from that draft class? It looks like he is, starting this year anyway.
And that's one of the cool things about Vrabel is he's always been the little details matter every second and whatnot. So when he made that play, and he makes calls like that all the time, it's just a lot of people don't notice. He's very detail oriented. He's not just a big meathead. I'm smashing my head into a wall. He's very smart, very methodical. He's a fantastic coach. And I think you got to give some respect for Kellen Moore. Nobody really expected them to do anything. And granted, they haven't won a lot, but you can see that, look what he did with the Eagles offense 2 years ago. At any other stop, he's made the offense look good. He's able to do this with the Saints. Saints have a couple of paces on the offensive line, but they at least believe that they can be in any game, and they beat the Giants. They kept it close with the Pats. Pats look like a playoff contender. So
yeah,
if you're a Saints fan, you're feeling okay when things are looking up. It's not going to be great this year, but it's watchable.
Yeah, no, they've improved a lot. Like, they're in pretty much every game. Like, and that's, I think, like I said, with their talent level, that's pretty much all you can ask for. And they'll win a couple more. So, like, yeah, the Saints are actually a pretty decent team to watch. The Titans are not, which is why they don't have a coach right now. So, Callahan got fired. I think everybody kind of saw that coming. Not only have they looked not very good, they've looked actually terrible. The Titans offense doesn't, and it's not Cam Ward. Cam Ward, to me, has already played somewhat decently. He is making a lot of rookie mistakes, but again, he doesn't have a lot going for him. He's made a lot of plays himself. He's made a lot of good throws. He's going to need time to develop still, but I think the Titans did the right job firing Callahan, but don't go try to hire McCarthy or Belichick, please. Well, okay, wait, let's talk about that. Do you actually think McCarthy would be good for his development? Because I could see the Titans hiring McCarthy for like a year or two to help develop Cam Ward, because I think McCarthy would be really good at that. In fact, I think Mike McCarthy would be an excellent offensive coordinator in the NFL. I think he should try to get that job. I know he wants to be a coach, but I think he's just got too many problems with how he runs the team and the defense historically to like maybe take a chance on him as a head coach. But like, I think Mark McCarthy is an excellent offensive coordinator, and the Titans are so low right now. Maybe McCarthy comes in just to kind of help Cam Ward's development. You give it a year or two, or at least the rest of this year, right? See, maybe he can teach the kid a few things.
He's decent at developing quarterbacks. I mean,
yeah, I would say he is. Yeah, definitely. Well, he'll tell you he developed Joe Montana, after Joe Montana had won 4 Super Bowls. But
once he went to Kansas City, I developed Joe Montana.
McCarthy likes to tell people he coached Joe Montana. It's like, Joe told you what to do, Mike. Relax. All right.
He didn't screw it up, at least, I guess.
Speaking of those 4 Super Bowls and the 49ers, the Bake Show goes in and just dominates again. Bake Show. We called it. Dave, at the beginning of the season, said Bake Show was an MVP candidate. We talked about it week 2, how if Bake keeps playing like this, he's the Cinderella like MVP candidate. And I got to tell you, now that the Bills lost, right, is Bake number 1 for MVP? In my heart, if the MVP voting was today, I'd say Bake Show's number 1 for sure. I'd say he's absolutely number 1, right? Because Stafford had a bad game. He's been playing well. Dak's been playing great. But Dallas, still has a bunch of losses, right? I mean, who would you pick? I mean, Jared Goff just got run by Kansas City. I mean, you could say Patrick, but he's had some terrible games. He kind of lost the game against the Jaguars. They're still
Baker's moved up big time. He was like number 15. Now he's number 3 in MVP odds.
We called that.
Would take it when it was only 3,000.
Yeah, when he was 8th or 9th, that was the time to take it. Dude, okay, legitimately, I'd say right now, MVP should be Bake number 1, still Josh Allen number 2, maybe Jonathan Taylor number 3, right? I could see up there. Throw Stafford in there. I mean, maybe throw a cookie to Sam Darnold. But another guy you could throw in there is Jordan Love, who has excellent numbers this year and had, one bad throw, and it happened to get tipped and it happened to get interception, but it was a bad decision. So I do still hold that against Jordan Love.
He is 7th. He was about 6th or something before. He's 7th now.
I think he should be right around 6. Yeah, I think 6 or 5 or 6 is good for Jordan
He's still
Love.
below Josh Herbert.
Yeah,
Just
but we'll get
Herbert.
into that more when we do Bears talk. Bears
Goff
Packer
moved
talk.
up big time though. Goff is number 5.
Yeah. Well, I think after this week against Kansas City, that might drop a little bit. I don't know if that's fully updated yet because he did not have a great game against Kansas City.
This is as of yesterday night.
Yeah. So maybe before Sunday Night Football.
That was right before Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. So Detroit, I thought their offense would do a lot better. I figured Kansas City would put a decent chunk of points on them because, again, Detroit's defense is okay. They're missing 3 of their 44 starting defensive backs. So
5 of 6 by the end.
Yeah,
of the
5
game.
of 6. Yeah. So, Kansas City's going to put points on them, but I think I'm a little disappointed with the Detroit Lions offense in that game. They've been running on all cylinders all over somewhat bad teams, let's be honest, but that they're still good. And they kind of had a bit of a clunker. Things happen, but I thought the Lions would win this game, cheering for the Chiefs to beat the Lions, but I thought the Lions would win this game, and Kansas City kind of took it to them. So
one of the nice things for this game though is they moved Chris Jones, he showed up as a pass rush. He had a 91 PFF pass rush grade. He got 4 total pressures. He got 2 quarterback hits. He didn't do too well against the run. But fortunately for him, the rest of the offense did. So he was able to step up. And, his job was just to make Goff uncomfortable, which he did, which is a big help. The other nice thing that the Chiefs defense did is they put Trent McDuffie back in the slot. That's where he's been the most effective during the Super Bowl, during the playoff runs. They slide him back into the inside. This year they had to put him on the outside. But for this game, they're like, okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown is here. So they brought him into the slot. All of a sudden, he was able to hold Amon-Ra. What did I say, Fresh? He had 9 of 10 catches for 45 yards.
Yeah, it was less than 50 yards. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
so they kept everything short. So that short circuited a lot of the big plays and whatnot, the dynamic. They let Jameson Williams make some big plays and whatnot, but and I think he set his personal record for the most completions because I think he had like 6, which is crazy. But they're like, we'll just let Williams do his own thing. That's not going to be enough because Amon-Ra is the one that really. Him and Gibbs are the one that really fire up the engine for this team. If you can neutralize Amon-Ra, I think it was a pretty smart game plan. The offense that they had for Detroit, it just didn't feel like it was the 35 points. It's good, but it just wasn't able to get fired up into that second gear. And on the flip side, there was a really smart thing that the Chiefs did in the offseason is they signed a backup tackle. They signed Jalen Moore to a 2-year, $30 million contract. The thing that kicked their butt in the playoffs last year is they were without their tackle, so they had to slide their guard out to tackle, and that killed them in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. So they said, okay, we're trying to figure out our salary cap. We're not paying a lot of money to these wide receivers. We're paying our quarterback a good chunk. But why don't we invest in having a strong backup tackle? They had to use him last night against Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson didn't touch Mahomes other than that, that personal foul BS hit where he took 3 steps after the play was gone. Otherwise, that backup tackle, he earned every cent. He shut down Aiden Hutchinson effectively, letting Mahomes just do whatever he wanted.
Now, to be fair, I think they signed him as a starting tackle because they didn't think that they would get a starting tackle all the way down at 31 in the NFL draft, right? So they did want to get a tackle, don't get me wrong, but I think they signed him as a starter in case they didn't get one and paid him starter money. But I mean, it's a happy accident in the sense that you get a great tackle in the draft. He can step in and having too many good offensive linemen is not ever a problem. It's never a problem. So, cause they get hurt a lot and the Packers can attest to that. So great. Honestly though, this weekend of football was so fun. There was a time on Red Zone there was 5 1-score games up all in like the end of the fourth quarter. And I was just like, this is what football is about. This was a great weekend. A lot of really good games. The Chargers game, the Seahawks game, the Cardinals game, the Panthers game, the Cowboys game, the Patriots game were all there, like at the end, close games. And that was really fun. That was really fun.
We didn't even talk about the Bills game tonight.
So, the Bills game, we called it. We said Atlanta can run the football and the Bills can't stop it. Atlanta kind of walked all over them in that game. They had a lot of rushing yards and they didn't have to pass the ball a lot. And kudos to their defense, which has massively improved since last year. Getting those 2 bookends is one thing, but just the way they play the run now too and swarm the ball. Like I got to give Atlanta a lot of credit and Raheem Moore down there for really fixing that defense. yeah, they look good, dude. Didn't I pick Atlanta to win the division? I believe I did. Now that's not going to happen because Bake Show is going to make sure of it, but I still think Atlanta's going to possibly be a playoff team. Dude, you know what'd be crazy is if like there's because the NFC West is good, right? The NFC North's pretty good, and the NFC South is, we didn't think was good, and the NFC East has the Commanders and the Eagles. What if we get 3 teams from the NFC South? Because that's very possible, right? It could happen. 3 teams out of the NFC South, right? The Bucs look like a surefire thing. Atlanta and Carolina could pull off 9 or 10 wins, I think, each. And, depending on how the Packers, Bears, and Vikings seasons go, you've also got the NFC West with, Seattle, the 49ers, and the Rams. I mean, the NFC is very wide open. And the Eagles are falling down. It seems like there's just a whole bunch of B to B plus teams in the NFC. There's like 10 of them, right? And only 7 can make the playoffs.
The West has 3 4-2 teams.
Right, exactly.
Niners, Hawks, and Rams.
Mm-hmm.
That is,
and then the NFC North has a 3-2-1 team, the Packers, the 4-2 Lions, and now, hey, the 3-2 Bears who won tonight. So, and then what does the South have? It's got
3-2 Vikings as well. So the North had our bye this week.
Yep.
Or this week and last week. Otherwise, we could have 4-2 teams as well.
Dude, that's 2 wide open divisions right there. And then the South is what? The 5-1 Bucks, the 2-3 or the 5-1 Bucks, the 3-3 Falcons, and the 3-3 Panthers, right?
3-2 Falcons.
3-2 Falcons. That's right, because they also had a bye week. That's right. So yeah, I mean, dude, the NFC is wide open right now. With Philly losing 2 games in a row, Commanders just lost here too. So I mean, the NFC is wide open. It's really exciting to watch. The whole NFL is kind of wide open. I mean, the Bills look like the juggernaut. They've lost 2, right? The Chiefs are 3-3. The Ravens are nowhere to be seen. The Bengals and Burrow aren't coming back. It's the Colts. Be afraid of the Colts. I was a Colts hater, but I think you got to be afraid of the Colts now, folks. 5-1. Pretty impressive to start the year.
Who are you afraid of, Hype?
Who am I afraid of in the NFL?
Yeah, who do you think is like, if the Packers were to play them next week, who would be the team that you'd want to play the least, I guess?
I'm really mad about saying it, but the Chiefs, they always find a way to win a game somehow. Like they could be, the thing is they lull you to sleep by being crappy. And then in the 3rd or 4th quarter, all of a sudden things just start going their way and Mahomes will just score somehow. Right. So like, I guess my point is no team really scares me. The roster wise, the Eagles kind of do, because just if you look at the roster and how many good players they have, so if they turn it on and play well, they can just cream anybody, but they just don't, right? Like Jalen Hurts, they figured out his weaknesses and stuff. But so I guess both the Eagles and the Chiefs still are the teams that, like, if they play well to their capacity and have people healthy, they can win any game if they really choose to, because Mahomes just always somehow has the right ref call. There's somehow guy wide open. There's always just something that happens for those teams to win.
I mean, they're 3-3 though. They didn't pull that off in the Jaguars game. Mahomes threw a pick 6 to lose in that game.
Yeah, but that's how they lull you in, and then you play him, and then he beats you. You know, that's the
problem. He does get Rice back next week, which is
and in the playoffs, I agree with you. But I'm saying like next week, week 7,
like next week.
The Packers played them next week. For me, it'd be the Buccaneers and the Colts that I would.
Yeah, the Buccaneers and the Colts are going to say for right now, like for sure, for right now. But
just
I think
right now, this week,
it might change though.
Yeah. This week, I'd say Buccaneers and Colts are like the 2 teams that I would not want to play, because I feel like they're just going to win. They just are. They're playing football like they are going to win, right? And respect to both of those franchises that especially the Colts, who I thought were trash. So good for you guys.
The Colts defense is actually there. Bake is just carrying that defense. Is not the
Bucs defense has a lot of holes in it.
It's going to cause them some problems in the playoffs